Hi, very short question. Hi, Claire. Is courage necessary? This is a ironic question. It's a absolute yes and no answer. And something we were looking at in the reset group yesterday was the shadow superpowers. So the the shadow superpowers we're considering are the areas where there is greatest suffering, and it's unique to each individual. And there's greatest suffering in that area because it's the lived experience of being so far away from the truth of us. So when an individual, say, is really extrovert, really energized by being with people, there might be a superpower of communion, or of energy, of love, and the shadow superpower would be in those moments where there is isolation, or rejection, or feel a like deep feeling of being separate. And those areas are torture. They look like the absolute worst horror, the worst thing that can happen to us. And so they are things that are avoided at all cost. But on our courses, what we say is go into those areas when that happens, when there's a rejection or indifference, or we're left out of something. What is going on? What's at threat in those moments? And the irony is it takes courage to do that. And it especially takes courage to go into those areas that are of greatest torture for that individual. For another person who's maybe more introvert, whose energy is more inward, who's not interested in big groups, or in big social events, it doesn't take anything. It's not really an issue. There's not really anything there. But when an experience is so challenging, so hugely confronting to the personal, to be still in it, to have whatever emotions are there to be had, to allow a real openness to the entire experience, that takes courage. And the irony is that the minute it's seen for what it is, it's gone. So the irony is it takes courage, while as long as it still looks like a reality, like an enormous issue. It takes courage to look in it. But the minute there is a like sanity, the minute there's actually genuine openness to it, the minute that the projection and the sort of future scoping in it all, the meaning of it all falls away, there's nothing there. These things that challenge the identity so profoundly, that are our worst nightmare, they look so personal and they look so real, because they're coming from that identity creation that created this unreal self in the first place. So this is such a paradox, so ironic. The more personal something looks, the more real, the more threatening, the less real it is, actually. It's so closely tied into the development of that fragile ego. And this is why we do this work, because these events that are so confronting, that we can spend our whole lives avoiding, or otherwise from this unquestioned mind, they just are more evidence of that belief system being right. This is how I am, this is how the world is. And so it's just maintained in place our whole life. But what we're saying is turn in towards these things, into these situations, these emotions, these experiences, with real inquiry. What's true here? What's really going on? Feel the emotions. It will take courage for sure initially, but there is nothing there. And this way of turning in over and over and over again will reveal there's nothing there. So eventually it stops requiring courage to do this work. And as Byron Katie says, I look forward to being rejected, being isolated, being left out, whatever. Because it starts to become very obvious that in the turning towards it, in the inquiry within it, it's gone. And that whole layer of identity and self that was so rigidly protected, also gone. So self and reality are no longer what they appeared to be before. And that's enlightenment. And the system starts to look forward to that process. And that is the virtuous circle. The vicious circle is the ongoing, more and more evidence coming back into the system of why everything that is believed is true. This is the opposite of that. And yes, it does take courage. It takes a degree of willpower, determination initially, but then we start to see what for, really, what for. There's nothing there that is actually confronting, and there's nothing to be confronted. Yeah, great. Thank you. Bye.